Hi Cancer, let's have a look at your new moon astrology and tarot for this coming month. So we have a new moon on the 21st of January for New Zealand and Australia and the 22nd for the rest of the world. This new moon is at 3 degrees Aquarius, which place it for Cancer. That position is in the 8th sector. So the new moon is a time when we are setting the energy for the new cycles, which happen once a month. So this is setting the energy. It's like an imprint, and that's why I look at the astrology for the exact time for the new moon to see what the theme of the energy is for each of the star signs. So with this, we have, the sun moon is when the sun and the moon come together. This is when we are bringing together our soul and our spirit, if you like, or our physical and our emotional bodies, and where we're looking at how much balance and harmony we have within that. Now the combinations connecting to that, indicate how that balancing effect is happening, or how we can balance out these energies that have been constantly going on in our lives regardless. So, with it connecting to Pluto, which is one of the slowest, it's the slowest moving planet, so it's sitting in this particular sector for you for a long period of time, and it's been there, it's coming out, and it's sort of stepping just out, but it's sort of stepping back in again, so it's not sort of worth talking about how it steps into 0 degrees Aquarius for sort of 6 weeks, because it's really retrograding back through again. But what I'm saying here is that it's going to be in this sector pretty much till the end of next year, but it has been there for a very long time. But while it's been going through this sector of your 7th, it's been transforming your relationship sector, your sector where you what you want from relationships, from partnerships, and how you see relationships and partnerships. So partners, whether they've been business or whether they've been love partnerships, marriage, it's been there would have been a lot of changes going on for these particular partners, and so it's not been directly affecting you so much, except for the fact that it's sitting in your partnership sector and affecting your partners. But also it could be affecting your, or could have been affecting your understanding of relationships as well, and how you see relationships and what they mean to you. So, with that sitting there for this long period of time, it would just feel like normal to you. But when these inner planets connect up and hit it, that's when it becomes more relevant. And so with the sun and conjuncting the moon in the 8th, and conjuncting this Pluto, you're sitting in your 8th position, which is more of a deep subconscious place for you. But it's a placement where you may be looking a lot at family trusts, or you may be focused on, looking after other people's money. It's that position. Relates to like inheritance and other people's money, and relates to family trusts or investments. So it's sort of money, but not money that you can actually access immediately like you could in your 2nd position. So with that, it's also in a placement of where you, are maybe releasing old patterns of emotions or feelings. When anything goes through the 8th, it's actually encouraging us to, what do we want to clear? So, before we move into the 9th sector of growth. So it's just allowing us to release and clear, any old stuff, anything we're holding on to, so that we can move forward. And that happens when we move into the 9th. So Mercury's been going direct, as you most likely know, and it's been retrograde, as you most likely know, and it's going direct in a couple of days' time. So this week it's sitting stationary, it's sort of sitting, not moving, but it's making a nice square to Jupiter. Now Mercury Jupiter is, sorry, I seem to have lost. Sorry, Mercury Jupiter square is now actually, and it's carrying on from, on the 18th is when it's more exact, and it sits exact until the 24th. So Mercury Jupiter is a time when we want to expand and grow. We've got a lot of ideas going on. It's a great time to be signing documents, paperwork, legal stuff, but it's also a great time to come up with ideas for productive growth for the future. If you're in business, it's a good time to be communicating ideas or getting working within teamwork, especially for Cancer with Jupiter sitting in your 11th house of teamwork and communities. So, and as well as friendships. So this is a time when Cancers will find that they can actually work with others really well and expand the ideas through connections, as well as expand on, if you are in business, expanding on your teams, or seeing how you can actually make things work a lot more productively in the future. So with Mercury sitting there in your 7th sector, again, the focus seems to be on partnerships and connections. Like I said, these partnerships don't have to be love partnerships, but it's like whatever you're considering around this time, definitely it's involving partners and discussions with them about productive growth for the future. So there's good agreements happening here around this period of time, and this seems to mean that you are needing to incorporate others that are relative to this. So again, partners, and also friendships or other colleagues that it's relative to. So that's, like I said, a really productive time for Cancer. You also have Venus conjuncting Saturn in the 8th. So again, there seems to be a lot around, money, but not the money, again, that's like it's just immediately accessible to you. It's about your bigger sort of picture on what you're building up on for the future. The Venus conjunct Saturn sort of means that, you may have been planning to withdraw funds or inheritance, or even waiting on inheritance, or waiting on returns from investments, with Venus Saturn sort of saying, it's a little bit challenging to actually access, but wait until this Venus Saturn is cleared. So it looks like you're going to make all the plans, but I feel that the action won't be sort of moving forward until possibly around the middle of next month. We also have February, we have a Sun conjunct Uranus. Now Uranus is in a very powerful space at the moment. It's not actually aspecting anything except for the node, which it's been doing for over 8 months now. But Uranus is actually currently doing its moving from retrograde to direct, and it's doing that on the 22nd. The actual official day it goes forward is the 22nd, smack on this new moon. So I just feel this whole when a planet is going from moving backwards to moving forwards, or even when it's going from moving forwards to backwards, when it's in what's called stationary, which means it's not moving, it's sitting there and in that same spot for quite a period of time. So that can make an aspect really long experience, but it really highlights the energy of it. So with that right on the new moon, it's like we are in a expect the unexpected time. It's a time where things can move forward quickly, but it's also a time when sudden turnarounds can happen. Now we have this more so by the 2nd of February, when the Sun actually squares this Uranus energy. And Uranus is sitting in your 11th sector, again, the sector of friendships and teamwork, and working within communities. And so, there will be sudden changes or ideas, I think, or new circumstances happening around that time. If you're sort of, you may find that you're going to be a lot more actively involved with others around that first week of February, and possibly continuing on, because it seems to be a sudden change within your circumstances or within your environment that is lasting. The other strong connection that you have, again, this is relative to partnerships, and I feel partnerships will have a lot to do with these changes, as you have Mercury is going to be conjuncting this Pluto energy, which is sitting there in your 7th. Like I said, it's been sitting in your place of partnerships for a long time, where you probably, at the beginning of it, it could have felt like there was a lot of pressure from partnerships and difficult situations, but where now you're starting to see the changes and the transformations within your partnerships, and that are so much more positive. Now with Mercury coming up to conjunct that, that's when it gets highlighted again relative to partnerships, and that's around the 10th of February. So, this Mercury-Pluto connection is all about impressing your ideas, being able to move forward, being a very, very clear speaker. When I say impress your ideas, it's when we can convince others of our ideas or plans. So I think that there could be some really important meetings happening around that time, around the 7th. Otherwise discussions, really important discussions happening around that time. So, if there are any power struggles going on relative to relationships with this Pluto, this is also a time when Cancer may even put their foot down and say, no, enough's enough. This is how I'm doing it. Or if it's all been their way, they may find that they're being a bit more adaptable to partnership situations. So it looks really good for Cancer. Let's have a look at your tarot, because that is the telling point of the experiences, and can sometimes reiterate it, confirm it, but also bring in new things that I haven't brought up. So let's have a look at what can Cancer experience to expect, for this next 4 to 5 weeks. What does the universe want Cancer to know about? Change is inevitable. So there is going to be some changes that you've been thinking about that have taken quite a bit of deep thought, that I think Uranus is going to go, yeah, let's do this. Any changes you've been wanting to make too. This is saying this is a time. Oh, it's looking fantastic. You have an ace of, and it's the Ace of Swords sitting at the base of this, which is saying, yes, exactly what I was just saying. Change is coming in. It's coming in quickly. Cancers don't do change too quickly generally. They like things to be secure and solid, and but they recognise a good thing when they know it. They've got a good eye for investment, and I think this is what this is about. Yeah, we've got Cancers here really worried about their security, I think, here. Where in your worries is not actually the reality of the cards I'm seeing. So when I say that, I'm reading your mind here, the position that's the mind and your worries and your thoughts, and it's not looking very positive. It's sort of saying there's been some dramas and you're really over dramas. You're going to have no more dramas. So I don't know what the dramas have been about, but you're absolutely over these dramas and you're going to move forward regardless. So any Cancers that have felt their freedom or limited within their sense of freedom, I think that they're going to make some big changes. You've really got some good ideas of where you want to be. Now, it's not saying, like you've got the Death card there. So anyone who I think is wanting to make changes. So this is, I think, going back to all the 8th house stuff of clearing out what you no longer need. Anyone who's really tired of these situations, you're going to make changes. You're going to make them really quickly. In fact, you may have already just done that, and you may be in a space of what now? Where am I going? But one thing I know for sure is that you're determined to make those changes, and you're definitely going towards more peaceful situations. You're definitely getting out of troubled waters, so to speak, where things have just been tumultuous, really, and moving into a much more peaceful environments or situations. So any Cancers that have found things tumultuous, like I said, that Pluto on the 7th would be really hard for some. This is it. You're coming near the end of it, and now this whole experience has been about you have given too much of your own personal power away to these relationships, and now this has transformed you to not do that. Now, that doesn't mean you have to end relationships. It just means that there's something you are needing to learn about yourself through this, because this is all sitting in the 7th, which has been projected back into the 1st, who you are, and what's projected onto you as well. Who you are and who you aren't, I suppose, is what we are constantly experiencing through relationships. These cards are really clear-cut, which is good, because we're, I don't want to make these videos too long, but you have 3 aces here, big changes coming up. Firstly, with your finances, where you're looking at what you're wanting to own, what you're wanting to do. Change of property is highly likely, or building work around property could be coming up. But this is going to, whatever it is going to create more security. There's plans around property, or even properties for some. But there's like your ideal of where you want to be. And if you haven't found that with regards to your home, much better situations are coming in for the future. It looks like there's really good news for Cancer, and it's like you're going to just feel a lot more financially free as well, and not so tied into your asset situations, as in, whether that's your mortgage or loans. It's like You've got so much more freedom, and you can actually get on with the plans you wanted to do around your property. And if it's not renovations, it's could be to do with the outside. It could be to do with landscaping, putting a pool in, or doing other things with property. But saying you've got all the security you need, so that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd like to be a Cancer here looking at these, except I wouldn't like to be thinking the way you're thinking right now, because it's sort of looking like you're sort of feeling like you're exhausted from stress. But this is really typical. When we've come out of a hard space, we generally get a really good lift up from the universe, and sometimes it comes in a whole roll where more than one thing goes right, and it gets us back into this positive frame of mind where this is who I am, this is my life, this is what it should be. Things generally go right. I don't normally have to battle constantly same old stuff. So for some Cancerians, and it's sort of showing the younger Cancerians here, if you're looking at studies or what you want to learn, you're going to find what you're looking for. You're going to find your career. This seems to be a very good year for you guys. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of it astrologically why, but don't worry, I won't go there. That'll take me too long looking through my paperwork. But it's happening. It's happening there for Cancers. It's like finding what you're really looking for. And I think for some Cancers, that's really strong security, where they can have more control in their own personal environments, in the work environment or their home environment. But especially in the home situation, you can get on with these plans. There is sort of a situation here for Cancer to speak up. This is your next thing to happen. It's saying, speak your truth. Cancers are, they're pretty good at speaking the truth. They're pretty good at, saying what they think. But because they're quite emotionally connected, being ruled by the moon, they tend to absorb a lot of energy and then go, I just need to digest this. I don't know quite, they can become very uncommunicative because and when they do become uncommunicative, and this is always generally about to do with their emotional space, not their other areas, not the practical areas of life. They can be really and talk a lot about that. But when it comes to their personal life, they're very private. And, so what that means is sometimes they don't express how they're feeling. So if they're getting frustrated with somebody, or they need to learn how to express that. Otherwise, they just want to implode. They just want to explode. They get themselves worked out because it's such an emotional sign. So important that Cancer learns to just speak your truth, and maybe take the lesson of an Aquarian and just say it and worry about it later. Even if you do worry about it, just try to have try to take the filters off. It's like we do need to have filters, of course, but you've got too many, Cancer. You've got layers and layers of filters. Let's see what's underneath there, because if you don't express what what's annoying you, or you feel like this isn't right, or you feel like you've been controlled because this person isn't listening, or you're just having to go along with it. If you feel like those things have been happening, it's like you need to speak out before you blow up. And it's an important thing to learn. If you express how you're feeling, you'll be surprised how open and receptive people are to that. That's not going to leave you vulnerable. It's actually going to empower you. When you disempower yourself, because I know you do this in a protective way, but when you disempower yourself by not saying anything, because it's not sitting right. You can't have that feeling of it not sitting right with you. So whatever situation comes up, which could be a bit emotionally explosive because we have this moon Pluto energy, I just feel like this isn't about having an argument with anybody. It's just about stating your truth. And it feels to me like for some, you've never done it, and you might find your partners are sitting on their ass going, well, that's a shock. Normally you don't say anything until you're at breakdown point. So start expressing who you are, and also, but at the same time, there's this balance between doing it gently and not offending anybody. But to me, it still feels like it's a new experience. And, sometimes just take a breath and go, how can I say this in the most beautiful and compassionate way? And when I've done that, I've found that I've actually been able to give the person a compliment. And when you give a person a compliment, then they're listening. They're actually going, and then you can sort of drop it on them in a gentle way. And they're still they're still fixated on that compliment you gave them. So, there are ways around it. All I'm saying is that learning new methods to speak your truth is really important for Cancer, and I think it's something that's going to come up to be addressed this month. You're very compassionate, Cancer, and it feels like, with your outside environment, there might be those that are needing care. For those that are sort of more, Cancer can be drawn, especially the females, drawn to nursing areas. But you may decide there's something you're wanting to do where you feel like you're helping others, you're helping humanity, you make great nurses. But remember also that you're highly sensitive and that you do absorb that energy at times. So it's really good, Spirit's saying, make sure you protect yourself when you go into the outside world. You're highly sensitive. Your compassion energy makes you more sensitive, and to do your best and to be your best and protect yourself first from this, because you can't actually help others if you're feeling the same thing. You sort of got to stand from an objective point of view where you're not feeling that. And so Cancers are sort of, they're good at that. They've got the shell to go, okay, I can look at this from an objective or subjective. But when it's close connections to them, it's very hard not to be absorb that. So just remember, if you're feeling tired or drained from your environments, ask for protection before you leave the home. It's a really, really important practice that I would recommend to anybody, but especially the water signs. So Cancer, this is so fantastic. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Ace of Rods, new plans, new excitement, new changes, and new financial circumstances, new assets that you're either obtaining or a new position of work, which is financially going to work better for you. So there's no worries here. We want to get you out of this headspace. Of course, that looks really dark, but this is actually the main card, and this is actually about peace, moving away to more peaceful situations. This is just you in your head. You're wanting to run away from a situation. That's okay. Don't blow up and run away. Just address it. Just do what I was saying before. Use your communication skills. It's quite new to you, but you're very good at. You really are good at it when you do apply it, and when you know that it needs to be done. And it's like with family, it's like you're really good at sitting your kids down and discussing what's going on for them. So it's like, try your own advice and try to open up more to those you're close to as well, and allow them to understand what you've been going through too. So it looks fantastic, and I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.